Now, in Onshape, we have access to what's called standard content components. To access this, I'm going to go up to the Insert menu, and I'll go over here to Standard Content, and I'll click. This might take a few seconds to pop up, which it did on me. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to the list that I have here, and I'm going to take a look at the different standards. And for instance, this came up with ANSI inch, and I don't know why it did that, because I thought that it was supposed to come up with millimeters. Yeah, it was. Well, okay. Well, that's all right. So back to insert and standard content. So the standard here is going to be ISO, because ISO is the metric equivalent in screws and nuts and bolts. And we're going to use that to create our hardware here. We're going to try and put 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and then the other hole into, well, 4 bolts into these holes. So I can use those different hardware standards. There's DIN, which is German, ISO, which is metric, NAS, I'm not sure what that is. PEM is actually, NAS may be the Japanese standard. PEM is a proprietary hardware, and SAE, I believe, is another American type of hardware. Anyways, now category, we're going to come down here, and you can choose different categories to select. We're going to go with bolts and screws. The class, we're going to set our option to hex head, bolts, and screws. So we're going to use that. And you'll notice down here our preview has been modifying as we go along here. Now, for component, we're going to check the hex head grade. Yeah, here it is. Hex head grade, bolt grade A and B, ISO 1014. So I've got that down now. Now, for the size of the screw, you're going to notice that this says M1.6. M stands for metric, and 1.6 is the diameter of the screw. And in this instance, I hit that down arrow, and you can see there are all different kinds of and different sizes of screws. So if I knew what size this hole was, I could choose the right screw to go through it diameter wise, but I don't know what that is. So I'm going to choose this auto size tool right here. I'm going to come out, and I'm going to put it right on the hole that I want to put a screw into, and I'm going to click, and it's going to choose for me the M10, which is the correct one. I can also choose a length. I'm just going to leave this at 45, and the thread length, which I'm also going to leave at 45. And material for the screw, there's all kinds of different materials here. I'm going to leave this as stainless steel. All right, now over here in our graphics area, we're going to change to the top view so that we can see all 4 of our holes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the insert tool, and I'm going to bring this out. You can see the bolt is attached, or the screw is attached to my cursor. And I'm going to get that snap point, and I'll get another one. And I'll choose a third one. And I'll do this one more slowly so that you can see it. It'll appear on the end of my cursor, and then it's trying to go to snap points all the way along until I get to the one where I want it. And I'm going to change to my isometric view. And you can see these things now in my part list. I'm going to green check mark this. And what I want is I'm going to go here to my hex head bolts, and 45 millimeters I realized is an incorrect length for these things. So I'm going to highlight all of these. I just clicked on that top one, and I'm going to hold the shift key and select the last one. I could have probably just gone around and selected all of them if I had wanted. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say edit standard content instance, and I'm going to change my length to 50 millimeters, and I'll hit update, and those changed in length. Now I can green check mark and go back to my isometric, and we can see that all of these have updated to the correct length of 50 millimeters. So last thing I'm going to do is up here where it says assembly 1, I'm going to right click on this, I'm going to select rename, and I'm going to rename this wheel assembly. And click off. So that's how you do some mates and how you use the content center a little bit to add things to your assemblies.